Suppose that you have two wave pulses that are passing through one another, as is illustrated in this animation. We're talking about wave pulse interference and superposition. And as these two waves pass through each other, or wave pulses pass through each other, you can see at the bottom of the screen that the two pulses are combining together to give us a sum of pulses. Now this is the O Physics interactive physics simulation, which illustrates this concept very well. And so we're going to, further in my video, we're going to be looking at how to add these two pulses to get the summation that you see at the bottom of the screen. And so we're going to take those pulses that we saw in the previous portion of this video from the O Physics simulation, and we're going to redraw those on graph paper and see how it is that we can make a sum of pulses graph out of these. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to trace the equilibrium line. So let's go up here and we'll make that equilibrium line right along here. I want to make sure that I trace on the graph paper. Okay, and that black line represents equilibrium, the equilibrium position. Now we're going to do the same thing down here, where ultimately we're going to be drawing the sum of the pulses. So again, we're going to trace along the graph paper. So again, that represents the equilibrium position of the pulses, but we're going to combine the two pulses together to make the sum of pulses. Okay, so let's first of all graph what was the orange pulse. I'm using a red pen for that. Okay, and so sketch this in here. Not exactly sketching, I'm using a straight edge. Okay, so there's the orange pulse. And now let's draw in the blue pulse. And the blue pulse was an M-shaped pulse. And we're going to count up 4 squares. And then we come down 2 squares, then back up to 4. And then back down to equilibrium. So we'll draw that in. Okay, so there's our orange pulse and our blue pulse. So now we're going to combine them together, or in other words, making a sum of pulses. And to do that, we're going to use our black pen. So the first of the orange pulses right here, and we're just going to follow that all the way down, and we'll put that on the equilibrium where that orange pulse was. Okay, now the next point, we're going to add together the blue pulse with the orange pulse. The blue pulse is up here at 4 squares above equilibrium, and the orange pulse is 1 square below. That's -1. So 4 plus -1 is 3. So we go down this same line, and we're going to go over here to 3. Now, we have to be careful here because this is this portion of the orange pulse is not overlapped. So actually, we need to draw in that point down there as well. We'll see how that works out. Okay, so now we're going to move over to the next points. We add these together. The blue pulse is 3 squares high, and the orange pulse is 2 squares deep. So 3 minus 2 is 1. So the next square is going to be, or the next point is going to be there. Okay, then The blue pulse point is up here at 2 squares above equilibrium, and the orange pulse point is 3 squares below. Positive 2 plus negative 3 is negative 1. So it goes there like that. And then these 2 points add together. The blue pulse point is 3 squares up. The orange pulse point is 4 squares down. 3 minus 4 is negative 1, so it goes here. Okay, and then we have to jump back up to the blue pulse where it's not overlapped. And we see that that is up here 3 squares above the equilibrium. And then we're going to go up to its highest point and then back down to the equilibrium. So now we'll draw these segments in here. So this segment that I'm drawing in here was the portion of the orange pulse which was not overlapped. Then we jump up to the point where we have the combination of the 2 pulse points of the red and orange. Okay. Then we come down to the next one. And the next one after that. And across here. And up here. And then finally like this. So essentially we are just counting squares. And we're adding the number of squares from the blue pulse to the number of squares of the orange pulse. And here we end up with the sum of pulses. And we had the original pulses up here. So we added together the original pulses, and we ended up with the sum of pulses. Hopefully this was helpful to you.